If you ever see this, do not touch it. This animal was recently found in the woods, and it's extremely dangerous. You won't believe what it is.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? You guys know what we like to do here, man. We break down scary and creepy videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Worst ways people have died. Part 8. In 1601, Tycho Brahe was at a feast when he really needed to use the restroom, but he was a real nobleman and thought it would be rude to leave during the feast. So he remained in place for several hours, and when he arrived home, he was only able to pee in very short, agonizing spurts. It turns out holding it in for so long caused his bladder to burst, and within a few days he was dead. In 2016, a 69-year-old Florida man finished going number 2 at a Walgreens restroom when suddenly staff didn't let him leave the store because they discovered he, quote, pooped all over the bathroom. They demanded very publicly that he clean up his awful mess, which he obliged, but the sheer embarrassment and distress caused him to go into cardiac arrest, and he passed away.
Wow, what the? That's disturbing.
If you ever see this, you need to run. Fast. This video is crazy. Make sure to follow and like so everybody can see this. Now, if you ever see one of these, you might be in some serious danger. This is called a black panther, and they're extremely dangerous predators. Just recently, there have been panther spottings everywhere. Panthers are extremely smart and aggressive. They will also attack humans. Make sure to share this with a friend so you can keep them safe.
Basic information, bro. Stay away from Black Panther, man.
Things almost no humans can do, but I'm not sure. And if you can, then you believe weird. This is moving limbs in the opposite direction. So if you move your left foot clockwise, try to move your left hand anti-clockwise. Only 1% of humans can actually do this. Try this video if you can do it.
There is so much history that we were not taught in school. The U.S. military opened fire on the planet Venus in 1945 after mistaking it for a Japanese balloon bomb. There is an unproven working theory that the years 614 to 911 never actually existed. It's the idea that an emperor faked 300 years of time to legitimize his claim over the entire Holy Roman Empire. If 300 years of the Middle Ages never existed, we'd be living in the year 1725, not 2025. Most people in ancient Roman cities didn't even have their own kitchens. They would just share a communal kitchen or just buy straight from street vendors every day. Immediately after JFK was assassinated, an order was given to destroy all personal logs linked to the insane and institutionalized in Kansas in 1887 until he escaped a year later and disappeared forever.
These are the rarest human features. The rarest zodiac sign of all time is Capricorn. This is where you're born between December 22nd and January 23rd. These are the days with the fewest births. Only 8% of the world's population has a birthday in between these dates. Next up, if you're a natural redhead, you're extremely rare. They represent just 2% of the world's population. Both the mother and the father need to carry this gene in order to pass it down. Only 25% of people in the world have dimples on their cheeks.
Josh said that he was grabbing McDonald's one night after work. While ordering, he noticed something strange. 2 voices talking at once through the speaker. He said that he shrugged it off as a glitch, but when he pulled up to the drive-thru window, he said that the cashier noticed his bracelet that said Jesus. Suddenly, according to Josh, the man's eyes went completely black. His teeth sharpened and his whole face twisted. Josh yanked his card back and sped off. He said that to this day, he still wonders if it was just exhaustion or something real.
2 places in the world where you should never go swimming. First up, we've got the Boiling Lake. What makes it so dangerous is there is actually boiling magma underneath this lake. If you went swimming in here, well, it would be game over. It is that hot that it would literally burn all of the skin off your body. And next up, we've got Jacob's Well. No, it doesn't belong to anyone called Jacob. This lake is so clear that you can see right to the bottom of this cave. However, if you swam to the bottom of here, you are very unlikely to come out alive. The reason being this lake has hidden caves, so if you did swim down one of them, you are very unlikely to make it out.
How Virgin Mary look like in different countries. Japan. Kenya. Ethiopia.
That's where Egypt's from. I think.
Egypt. China. Mexico. India. Australia. Italy.
Everybody has different perspectives, bro.
What if you were trapped in an endless cycle of death? Let's talk about a disturbing war game where a terrifying entity kills you in dozens of ways. Glitch. Full playthrough with all endings, including the secret one, on my channel. The game starts with you waking up in the middle of the night to find out all of the clocks have stopped working. From there, you can go down many different paths to try to figure out what is going on. Depending on which path you go down, you will find new entities that kill you in new ways. In every path, the entities you find look different, but also similar. So what is really going on? And what is the point of trying to escape this if I die in every path? I even tried to destroy the glitched clocks, but it doesn't work. I always end up dying in some horrific way. The only way to get the secret ending is to find all of the other 26 ways to die. I won't spoil it here, of course, but the secret ending does explain everything.
Things they don't teach in school. The sun is white. Earth is in round shape.
It's flat. We got a flat earth theory.
Water is not from Earth.
Calling cap on that one.
Life exists on Mars.
You think so?
Space has no color. $1,100 dB can destroy galaxy.
I have no idea what that means.
Black holes are portals. Pyramids are older than humans. Earth core is hotter than the sun.
You were today years old when you found this out. Did you know that gorillas actually get checkups at the doctors like humans do? But if they woke up during their checkup, it would be kind of scary. And you know when you see an alligator popping its head out the water, they're not actually swimming, they're just standing on their hind legs. You know that tiny little hole you get in playing Windows? Well, it's actually used to stop the window from fogging. Oh yeah, and lobsters can live up to 50 years old and they never stop growing.
This is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. But someone made a 3D rendering of the inside of the Nutty Putty Cave, and you can see the exact spot where Jon Jones got stuck. I cover a lot of things that are morbid but interesting if you want to follow along, but in November of 2009, Jon Jones and his family went to the Nutty Putty Cave, which the whole thing looks like this. Now, over in this area of the cave, Jon thought that he was going one way, but he ended up in an unmapped part of the tunnel called Ed's Push. And this section that he found himself in is about 10 inches across and 18 inches high, and as you can see, there's no way to turn around. Jon thought he'd be able to turn around, so he kept going head first, and that's how he became stuck. He was there for the next 27 hours. A rescue team actually got into the cave and tried to save him using this rope and pulley system, and they ended up getting him part of the way out, but the ropes eventually failed, and then he plunged farther back into this part of the tunnel. And this part of the cave is now forever sealed, so no one can go inside of it, which is why I think people were so curious to make VR renderings of what it looked like. But yeah, this is someone's best guess as to what it looks like, though the person is moving around far more than Jon would have been able to here, so I actually think it was probably a much more terrifying experience.
I would never go in a cave like that. Yeah, now he's locking the doors. Smart. He unlocked it. Rookie.
There is so much history that we were not taught in school. In 1980, while camping on the Columbia River with his family, an 8-year-old boy found $5,880 of deteriorating $20 bills. These bills turned out to be from the $200,000 ransom paid to the notorious, mysterious airplane hijacker D.B. Cooper 9 years earlier. The 8-year-old was allowed to keep 15 of the $20 bills while the FBI took the rest. After leaving the White House, Harry Truman was pulled over on the Pennsylvania Turnpike for driving too slowly in the passing lane. This is an unfinished portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt because he collapsed and complained of a headache while posing. He passed away later that day. Ben Franklin left the cities of Boston and Philadelphia $2,000 in his will, but the catch was they were not allowed to touch it for 200 years. In 1990, 200 years after he passed away, the cities received $6.5 million.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 28. This photo shows a group of U.S. airmen who were taken as prisoners of war by Japanese soldiers in 1945. 8 of the 11 men were dissected while they were still alive, and the 3 others were placed in custody. This photo shows Michael and Susan Kuhnhausen after being married for 18 years. In 2006, Michael hired a hitman to kill his wife. However, Susan choked the man with her bare hand, saying, "Tell me who sent you here, and I'll call you an ambulance."
GG, bro. She said she ain't going out.
This is how you'd spend your last 24 hours on death row. You'd start your day by leaving the normal prison and entering the D house. Upon entry, their belongings would be taken and they would obviously be searched. They would then be given new clothes and taken to their final destination. The cells here would tend to be better than the ones in the actual prison, and it would only be them in there, so they're pretty much in solitary confinement. They would then be given around an hour to talk to their family and friends on the phone. They would then go back to their cell for their final night's sleep. Next morning, they will be given the chance to write letters to family and friends. After this, they'll be taken to another small cell where they will be held for the rest of the day. After this, they will get their final meal, and you can choose pretty much anything within reason. After this, they will be escorted for their final walk, which some call the Green Mile. They will then be prepped for their final minutes, where family and friends can come and watch and say goodbye.
This is why you never judge a book by its cover. On the evening of August 7th, 1985, police received a call about a mentally ill woman attacking her family with a gun. When police arrived at her residence, they didn't hear any shooting or hear any noises coming from inside the house. Police tried yelling for the shooter to come outside, but when she didn't listen, they went in. Inside was a massacre. All 5 family members have been killed, including 2 young children. One of the deceased was Sheila Bamber, the mentally ill woman the police have been called about, but one detective felt like they were missing something and kept investigating. And sure enough, he found something hidden under the stairs at the crime scene that meant Sheila could not be the shooter. To find out what's under the stairs and who the shooter is, check out The Murders at White House Farm on HBO Max. The link to it is in my bio. It's awesome.
Okay.
Human Attractions from the Circus of Horror. Ella Harper. The Camel Girl. Myrtle Corbin. Girl with 4 legs. Isaac W. Sprague. The Living Skeleton.
Yeah, he looks like a skeleton, bro.
Fanny Mounds. The Bigfoot Girl. Grady Stiles. The Lobster Boy. Annie Jones. The Bearded Woman.
The strangest last meal request on death row. Part 3. In 1963, Victor Harry Feger was sentenced to death for killing a doctor. For his final meal, he had a strange but simple request. A single olive with the pit left in. After his execution, the pit was found still in his pocket, and it's believed that this was so an olive tree, symbolizing peace, would sprout from his grave. Lawrence Russell Brewer, a convicted killer, wanted a massive feast in 2011. He requested 2 fried chicken steaks, a triple bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet, a meat pizza, a pound of barbecued meat, and a million other things. All washed down with 3 root beers. However, he just wanted to mess with them, and when the food arrived, he claimed he wasn't hungry, which led the state of Texas to ban last meals. Ricky Ray Rector ordered a tasty meal of steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and a slice of pecan pie. However, he left his dessert untouched. When he was asked why he changed his mind, he simply said he was saving it for later, and it's not known if this was serious or a joke.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 2.
I never noticed that before, bro. The hell is that?
He ran over this kindergarten class because they were in his way. On May 6 of 2002 in Mexico, 56-year-old Jose Luis Nieto was a mechanic who lived near a school. This school would have their students participate in a flag ceremony every day. The school would have their students dressed in colorful soldier uniforms, marching with the Mexican flag while others were banging on a drum. Jose, who lived right next to the school, was irritated because since they were doing that flag ceremony every day, they would block the road and he wasn't able to come and go to his house whenever he wanted to. His mechanic shop was in the back of his house, and because of this ceremony, he wasn't able to access it. In the video, Jose is seen getting out of his pickup truck to talk to the adults about the flag ceremony, and they tell him that he has space to move to the side to go through. Jose still tells them to move and counts to 3. He then gets back into his pickup truck and rams it in full force into the crowd of 100 children and teachers. Unfortunately, 2 children aged 2 and 3 pass away from their injuries, and many others are injured, including a 4-month-old baby. When Jose was arrested, he admitted to everything and stated that he was targeting the teacher. He is currently serving a sentence of 156 years in prison.
If you ever see this, do not touch it. This animal was recently found in the woods, and it's extremely dangerous. You won't believe what it is. Before I tell you what it is, make sure to go to my profile and go here. Make sure to get some of the games that I got here. They're all the best. This animal is actually a baby werewolf, and it already has razor-sharp teeth. So if you ever see one of these, do not touch it. Make sure to share this with a friend to keep them safe.
Call a cat. You guys think that's legit? Or that just looked like an edited picture, bro? We don't got werewolves running around in 2025.
Why are they hiding this evil part of history? In the 1950s, in the deep hills of Arizona, there was a young woman named Rosemary. She lived with her sick mother named Abigail Marsh in a crumbling old house. Rosemary was super tall and had a condition that made her look like a mummy. The townspeople feared her. One day her mother's health took a turn for the worse, and she passed out. Rosemary quickly called the local doctor, Dr. Rick O'Shea, crying and making weird noises as she couldn't talk. The doctor happened to know them and managed to get to the house quickly, but by the time he was there, Rosemary's mother was already gone. Dr. O'Shea tried everything to revive her, but it was too late. He broke the news to Rosemary, but she refused to believe him. In her eyes, the doctor had failed her. Worse, she believed he was the reason for her passing. As the doctor tried to leave, she cornered him. She didn't use words, just raw, terrifying strength. The townspeople would later find his car abandoned outside, but the doctor was never seen again. Days later, the people of the area noticed something strange. Rosemary was seen wandering the streets wearing the doctor's white coat. She walked with a creepy smile into the forest, never to be seen again.
I'm just sort of curious how long it takes most people to look at this photo and notice that there's something wrong with the background of it. Because I had originally found this on a paranormal subreddit, and people were talking about the background, so of course naturally I zoom in. I'm going to zoom in for you. Everybody's talking about the background. I'm looking over in this direction. I'm also looking way at the top here above the casket, because the picture itself, let's talk about that. I don't have full context for this photo. My best guess is that it was a girl who somehow had access to like a funeral home or caskets, and she's in the casket making a bit, like a dark humor joke, right? Background thing. Everybody's talking about the background and that something looks off. I'm looking over here until somebody points my direction to whatever this is. What is that? There are so many elements of this strange shadow to me that actually do look like a face. I mean, I'm crazy here, but like, this looks like the outline of a jaw. That's the mouth. This is a nose, and these two are eyes. That looks like a face next to her. I enhanced the picture to try to sharpen up some of the details and see what I'm actually looking at. It looks even more like a face to me. What is this photo?
This journalist was essayed by over 200 men right after the camera battery died. Logan was a well-known journalist for CBS News. On February 11th of 2011, Laura and her CBS crew were in Egypt because at the time the president Hosni Mubarak was resigning. Laura was covering the celebrations in Tahrir Square because a lot of people were celebrating, chanting, and just happy that they had their freedom. As Laura and her crew were filming it all, suddenly the camera battery died, and that's when things started to change. Men started to gather around Laura, and suddenly she was separated from her CBS crew. Next thing she knows, she was being surrounded by 200 to 300 men and is being essayed by flagpoles and sticks for 25 minutes. She tore off her clothes and started to take photos with their cell phones. Laura's body was being pulled in different directions, and when they were pulling her hair, it was coming out in chunks. She was dragged towards a fence where a group of women were camping. They saw her and were able to pull her out and save her. A group of soldiers saw what was going on, so they started hitting the men with their batons, and luckily Laura survived. Once Laura arrived back to the United States, she was kept in the hospital for 4 days. Since they didn't know the identity of these men because there were so many of them, they weren't able to prosecute any of them. Despite how traumatic this was for Laura, she decided to come forward with her story so that maybe it could help other victims in the same situation. Although the memory will never disappear, she states she is proud for breaking the silence of what some female journalists experience but never talk about.
That will ruin your life. Baby chicks, while very sweet, are often grinded up. In many large factories, if they're baby roosters, they're just tossed into a grinder. Pretty gross. Did you know that in the United States alone, every year, around 2,500 people die from using right-handed equipment that were originally left-handed? Sucks to be left-handed. George Bush Sr. was the only man to survive after his plane was shot down in World War II by Japanese soldiers. Out of the 9 men that were cannibalized and eaten on by Japanese soldiers, Bush was somehow the only one to survive. Hopefully you like boogers, because Inuit mothers actually suck the snot out of their baby's nose. Nasty. Did you know there's actually 200 corpses right now on Mount Everest? Due to the body's elevation, they're actually left up there and perfectly preserved to the extreme climate and temperatures. They're used as guide points for climbers and hikers. Comment and let me know which fact disturbed you the most.
Basically, it's a graveyard, man.
This is without a doubt the creepiest mugshot I've ever seen. This is 33-year-old Solomon Galligan. He is an S offender that tried to kidnap a little boy from an elementary school in Colorado. This entire ordeal happened last Friday, and he went up to multiple children. Before police arrived, he tried to grab the young boy and flee, but that was unsuccessful, so he just fled to begin with. He was later caught by police and charged with 1 count of kidnapping. As a result, the elementary school and the surrounding areas are increasing security and police presence. But bro, this mugshot is definitely the creepiest shit I've ever seen. There's not a single feeling of remorse or regret in those eyes. He's now being held on a $25,000 bond. He had a similar incident in 2012 and he failed to register as an offender. Now, luckily, the little boy that he tried to kidnap was unharmed. And this also happened while the kids were at recess. I'm not sure how this happened. I feel like when I was growing up in recess, all of the teachers would be watching us.
Yeah.
But they definitely need to step up security. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
Movie bloopers that are better than the actual movie. In The Dark Knight, while Joker sits in a jail cell, he overhears Detective Gordon get promoted to commissioner. Naturally, the rest of his squad applauds him, but then they hear the Joker clapping in the background. The Joker's creepy clap wasn't in the script, but it fit the scene so well they kept it in. In the show Friends, Matthew Perry actually hits his head on a filing cabinet.
Please, just...
Well, this was a total accident, and Jennifer Aniston's reaction was completely genuine. In this scene in Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony Stark leans over to open the door, but Peter Parker hugs him instead. This wasn't in the script, but Tom Holland thought it would be funny, which led to Robert Downey Jr. improvising this line on the spot.
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not.
Classic.
In How the Grinch Stole Christmas, in this scene, everything was supposed to fall off when Jim Carrey pulled the tablecloth. But it didn't go as planned, so he had to improvise. This wasn't in the script, but it was so funny they kept it in.
Records that will never be broken again. Number 1, the woman with the most children. Back in the 1800s, a Russian woman named Vasiliev gave birth to 69 total children. She had 16 pairs of twins, 7 triplets, and 4 quadruplets. And no one has come close to matching that number since. Number 2, the most nuclear explosions ever survived. This is Tsutomu Namaguchi. He has survived 2 different nuclear explosions. Tsutomu was on a business trip when the first nuclear bomb was dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. After miraculously surviving that explosion, he returned to his hometown of Nagasaki just in time to witness the second atomic bombing. But again, he miraculously survived and lived till the age of 93.
That's rough.
Facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral.
there are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today.
Oh.
Your eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah.
Those are some creepy coincidences, man. Spider rain? I've never heard of something like that before, but I definitely don't want to experience that, man. Imagine you just walking outside, normal day, just see a whole bunch of freaking spiders coming down. You like, what in the world is this world coming to, man? How does something like that even happen?
If you see him while you're awake, run. So this story actually comes from a Reddit user who's a therapist. And this user had a patient who was coming in complaining of seeing Hatman at night. This patient would apparently wake up in the middle of the night to see Hatman standing at the foot of their bed, watching them sleep. And as a result, they were not really sleeping much. So the therapist prescribed some pretty heavy sleeping medication, and as a result, the patient starts getting a little better. But then one day, the patient comes in and just looks like they had seen a ghost. So the therapist asked them what was wrong, and they said that as they were getting in the car to come to therapy, they saw Hatman standing across the street during the day. This therapist had only ever heard of Hatman when it came to patients waking up in the middle of the night and seeing him, never when they were already awake doing things in the middle of the day. So the patient is terrified, but the therapist thinks this might be a side effect of the medication. It takes a little while to get used to. But that was the last time the patient ever came to see the therapist.
Yeah, man, is he real? Cap.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 2. The Hoia Baciu Forest is considered the most haunted forest in all of Romania. Hundreds of people have gone missing within these woods, among other things like screams, laughter, babies crying, people being attacked by unseen paranormal forces, strange balls of light, UFOs, and in the very center of the forest lies a clearing where no plant life will grow. It is believed that this spot is a portal to another dimension. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
Okay, that one, the most haunted freaking forest of Romania, man, where all those plants not growing, and how they said it can be ported there. I definitely want to check up on that one, because that sounds interesting, man. Like, no plants are going in that whole open area. That space is just like a freaking, looked like a crop circle. What do you guys think? Is that a dimension to another
incident has
reality?
made people on the internet so upset because this woman went up to a teen and pulled down her skirt because she thought it was too short. Even if you think this skirt is too short, I think we can all agree that you cannot go up to a child and touch them. The teen said that this woman approached her from behind and basically put her hand in her area. This woman, who is a 49-year-old Ida Lorenzo, said to the girl and her friends, "I happen to work for the state, and if I have to see your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS."
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS. You don't need to touch her.
Now, let's be real for a second. If this was a man who did this to a young girl, police would be called immediately and there would be no excuses. They were waiting at a restaurant to be seated, and she basically felt like it was inappropriate for this young girl to be dressed like this in front of everyone. Which, if you feel that way, then you can leave. You should never be putting your hands on anyone. She was eventually charged with sexual battery, which I'm glad, because you can't be putting your hands on anyone, especially kids.
She said it perfectly. No words needed on that clip. Everything to a T.
Here are 5 regular things that are illegal in North Korea. Number 1, wearing jeans. In North Korea, wearing jeans is a symbol of their enemy America. Number 2, turning off the radio. All houses come with a government-installed radio that makes announcements through the day. Number 3, practicing religion. Reading a Bible can get you publicly executed. Number 4, watching foreign films. Watching foreign films can get you executed or sent to a labour camp. And number 5, listening to foreign music. All music has to be Kim Jong-un approved.
As you were taught that you probably
Never
still
gone to
believe.
North Korea.
Number 1, that cracking your knuckles will cause arthritis. While cracking your knuckles might sound and look damaging, it does not cause arthritis. That loud pop that you hear when you crack your knuckles is caused by bubbles bursting in your synovial fluid, and the bubbles pop when you pull the bones apart. Blood in your veins is blue. If you look down at your arm, you can probably see your veins and see they look blue. However, your blood is not actually blue in your veins. Blood is either red or dark red, but never blue. Your veins look blue because of your skin. Blue light does not penetrate human tissue as deeply as red light does, and as a result, veins that are close to the surface of the skin will be more likely to reflect blue light back to your eyes. You can hear the sound of the ocean in shells. This is a myth. The sound you hear when you put a shell against your ear has nothing to do with it being from the ocean. It's actually part of the background noise around you, just turned up a little bit by the shell. So if you're next to the ocean, the shell picks up the sound of the ocean, the alpha wolf. There's actually no such thing as an alpha wolf. This idea was brought about in a paper from the 1970s, but the author later said in a paper that he rejected the idea of an alpha wolf. While it's true that multiple wolves who share a small space in captivity will develop alpha and beta-like hierarchies, wild wolves behave nothing like this. In the wild, a wolf pack is typically formed by monogamous parents and their puppies, and the wolf pack is basically a tightly knit family consisting of parents or breeders and their offspring, not an alpha and beta. How rare is your body? Let's find out. About 75% of people have a deviated septum, and this is a condition in which the bone and cartilage that divide the nose in half are crooked, making one nasal passage smaller than the other, and it's known to cause nosebleeds, problems breathing, or loud breathing when you're sleeping. Less than 1% of people have an extra finger crease, and it's also called camptodactyly, and it's just when you have an extra little ridge on your fingers, and it is most common on your pinky.
Ooh.
Less than 1% of people have an eyeball scar. This is also called a macular pucker, and it's just scar tissue that forms in your eye, and it's known to cause blurred or distorted vision, and it's caused when the vitreous, which is the gel-like part of your eye, starts to pull away from the retina. Less than 1% of people can hear colors or see sounds. For example, this could happen as soon as someone hears a sound, they automatically see the color red, or as soon as they read a word, a certain color pops into their mind. About 33% of people experience motion sickness, and this 33% are highly susceptible to motion sickness, while the rest just experience it in extreme conditions. And it's caused when your brain starts to get signals from your body that it's moving, but they're mismatched and don't match up.
Here's some Disney Channel stars that went to...
Do I have any of those? Or is any of the Seeker's bodies weird, man? Does they have that extra, we said, I guess cartilage on your pinky or eyeball scars? I didn't even know an eyeball could get a scar.
to jail, but each time the crime gets worse. Starting off, Mitchell Musso, who played Oliver Oken in Hannah Montana, was pulled over in 2011 for driving under the influence. He was only 20 at the time and was arrested and released on bail. Because of this, his character was written out of Pair of Kings and his show Prank Stars was canceled. Next up, Adam Hicks, who played Luther on Zeke and Luther and had a starring role in Lemonade Mouth, was arrested a couple times, but most recently for an armed robbery with his girlfriend. His sentencing was delayed multiple times due to mental health evaluations and was eventually given a 5-year sentence. But he's now currently on parole and making music on TikTok. Moving on, Lindsay Lohan was Disney's golden child in the early 2000s, starring in iconic movies such as The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, and Mean Girls, before getting into trouble with the law. She's been arrested for driving under the influence, drug possession, violating her probation, a theft charge, and has even had a bench warrant out for her arrest. And finally, Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, was arrested and charged for vehicle manslaughter after killing a 21-year-old girl while drunk driving. When they tested his blood alcohol, it was 3 times the legal limit. He was originally given a 5-year sentence, 2 years of probation, and 350 hours of community service, but ended up only serving 1 year due to his work with prison-based theater groups that performed in jails, churches, and schools to highlight the consequences of drug abuse.
After breaking up in the 50s, these 2 high school sweethearts are now newlyweds at 82 and 85. Eddie and Caroline dated for years in high school, and they spent so much time together that Caroline was known as Eddie's girl around their Nashville town. And when Eddie graduated a few years before Caroline, she had hoped for his class ring as a sign of commitment, but Eddie wasn't ready. And he was about to leave their hometown for the ROTC program at the University of Tennessee when he dropped her off at her house one evening in 1959 without giving her a class ring and with no mention of the future. Caroline knew that their relationship was over. She says that she recalls running into her house and crying for that entire night. And then the two went on to live completely separate lives, including Caroline winning Miss Nashville the same year that Eddie left. In 1961, they both married other people and shortly thereafter had children and raised families. Eddie spent 21 years as a pilot in the Air Force, and Caroline became an interior designer and an author. But in 2001, Caroline lost her husband, and in 2021, Eddie lost his wife. A year later, in 2022, Eddie felt compelled to reach out to Caroline, and he says he called 9 times before she answered, but when she did, the spark was still there. With 6 decades of catching up to do, they met back up in Nashville, and just 3 months later, Eddie asked her to marry him. He wanted to get her a traditional engagement ring, but she said that all she wanted was his high school class ring, just like all those years ago. Now, as newlyweds in their 80s, they say that they feel just like kids again. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
It's true love. Really, works through. They found each other, man, after all that time. Can you even imagine that, living separate lives? You come back and marry your first love. That's a great story. We need something positive every day.
Mason TV was able to trick Spotify into sending him Harry Styles' 1 billion streams plaque, so he decided to put it to good use. He created a TikTok account with the username SecretSue94, later changed to Sue Manella, playing on Harry Styles' nickname Sue, known within his fandom. He created multiple vines Harry made in 2013, adding subtle clues like a drawn-on cross tattoo to make it seem more authentic, and even getting pink carpet for his stairs to match Harry's stairs. He developed a multiverse of fake TikTok accounts for Harry's friends to lend credibility to the main account. He went to great lengths, including dressing up as Harry, painting his nails, and having fake paparazzi photos taken to show Harry with a Spotify plaque and using TikTok on his phone, which helped him spread the belief in the account. Overnight, fans all over social media and even major media outlets were speculating about its authenticity. Millions of people talking about the account led it to going viral and amassing over 600,000 followers.
This man left his 2-year-old toddler in a hot car while he went to go play video games. Not only is this case super disturbing because of what he was doing while his 2-year-old daughter was strapped in this hot boiling car, but apparently he's done this so many times before. It all happened on July 9th when 37-year-old Christopher Schultz arrived home at 12:50 and his daughter was strapped into her car seat and she was sleeping, so he decided to leave her in there because he did not want to wake her up, and he had left the AC on as well. Christopher's wife Erica arrived home at 4 p.m. from work and she found their 2-year-old daughter still strapped in the car. At this point, this poor little girl was already gone, and when paramedics arrived, there was nothing they could really do. Now, while Christopher claims that the AC was on, it turns out that it actually turned off only 30 minutes after he left to go inside. This means that she was left in this 180-degree boiling car for about 2.5 hours. At first, Christopher lied and said that he had left her in there for about 30 to 45 minutes and had checked up on her multiple times, but after they investigated and saw home surveillance footage of a neighbor, they noticed that she was actually in there for about 3 hours.
How long was she sleeping in the car out there? I want to say it was no more than 30-45 minutes. And I don't think their air was off that entire time. I think there was a time in between. I had checked on her last. It was still running. She was still sleeping. And then when I went back out, the car was off.
Like I said, he's done this so many times before, according to his other daughters. And his wife also sent him a text message saying, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" But what I also found so weird is that his wife also sided with him, and she got really upset when police arrested Christopher. I don't understand how she has any type of sympathy for this man who just took your baby's life because he was playing video games. He was warned multiple times about this, so there is no excuse. Christopher Christopher was originally charged with second-degree M, but then it was changed to first-degree, and he pleaded not guilty. If he gets convicted,
Talk about
There
it.
are 1,700 new millionaires in America every day. There are already 25 million people in the United States that are millionaires today. This means that 7.5% of the United States is a millionaire. Singapore has the world's highest percentage of millionaires in their country, with almost 20% of the entire country having more than $1 million US. Annual supply of water bottles can cost up to $200 a year, while tap water will only cost you 33 cents. King Charles made $34 million in rent income last year. Walt Disney fired the creator of Goofy because he tried to start a union. Money laundering wasn't a crime in the United States until 1986. Due to how much money they generate, 42 buildings in New York City have their own zip code. When we're tempted to buy something, thinking about how many hours it's going to take to afford that thing usually helps us stop.
You spitting, bro. You about to buy something important? Think how many hours, man, go down the drain getting that unnecessary purchase, man. Also, Singapore, bro, 20% as a millionaire, man. Shoot, I might have to move there, bro. Damn, my child, I need to crack that. I'm trying to get into that millionaire percentage. That's insane, man. That 20% over there has millionaires. Crazy.
If you are a family influencer or post your child on social media, here are a few things you should never do in my own opinion. Number 1, might be common sense, but never post your child in a bathing suit. It's disgusting how many of these Instagram accounts exist that just solely share these types of photos and even have their own groups and communities, so just don't. Number 2, having your very young child's own Instagram page. For example, the LeBrant family. They have an Instagram account for each of their very young children, and just because it's managed by mom and dad does not mean it stops thousands of sick individuals from following the account and using their photos for exploitation. Number 3, AI-generated photos are becoming more and more realistic, so think about that before you post a picture of your child eating, crying, or honestly doing anything. When it comes to this type of inappropriate content, people will do anything to get a photo. Honestly, as someone who has talked about true crime stories for over 3 years, I highly suggest to never post your kid on social media. If you have other tips, please comment that down below.
Let's talk about this brave man whose life was taken while he tried to protect his family at the Trump campaign rally. On July 13th, 50-year-old Corey Comprador, his wife and 2 daughters attended the rally in Pennsylvania where Trump was speaking. The family sat on the stand right behind Trump when less than 10 minutes into the speech, the shooting began, and while Trump was hit in the right ear, 3 other people were also hit. These are 2 of the 3 victims, David Dutch and James Copenhaver. They were in critical condition but are expected to recover. Unfortunately, 50-year-old Corey did lose his life while he tried to protect his family. His wife Helen and his 2 daughters said that he died a hero, and the last words that he said to them was to get down before he threw them to the floor and covered them. Corey worked as a project and tooling engineer and was a firefighter of the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company. After this tragic and sad incident, over $4.7 million has been donated to the victims, with Elon Musk donating $100,000 as well as Dana White and Kim Rock.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will
man.
probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark.
What?
A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 8.
What facts got to y'all, man? It's about the gelatin and the marshmallows for me.
hospital, and not for any reason you think. Shout out to Nat Geo for sponsoring this video. I'm gonna change the way you look at sharks in less than 60 seconds. Let's get it. The author of Jaws, Peter Benchley, not only did he regret writing the book because of all the bad PR to sharks, he would dedicate the rest of his life to shark conservation. If Jaws were written today, the shark would be the victim. The Greenland shark is a slow-burn glacier guppy that can not only live for up to 400 years, they don't hit baby-making age until 150. 150, dude, and still young. Now, there's more than 500 types of sharks, so it's easy to miss one, like the chain cat shark, which happens to glow in the dark that's biofluorescence. The epaulet is a shark that disrespects the natural order by walking, using pelvic and pectoral fins to move around during low tide. Sharks use a type of camouflage called countershading, meaning if you're above them, they blend into the dark abyss, but if you're below them, their light underbelly gets lost in the light of the sky. When you've been around longer than trees, nature gives you perks like that. That's Anthony Mackie. It is, and he and Ross Edgley and many more will be a part of National Geographic Shark Fest airing on Disney Plus and Hulu. Check it out if you're ready to see sharks be anything but the bad guy. Oh, that's right.
Not me, bro. He's going into underwater with sharks. Even with the cage, man, I do not trust that one bit. I'm sorry, Seekers. That's just me.
I wasn't lying. The sharks are fine, but the ocean slammed me against the bars of the cage like it owed me money. So, moral of the story, I'm not afraid of sharks, just the ocean around it.
This is why you should never take walks alone at night. In 2007, a girl was on a late-night walk when she looked at the end of the road and saw the silhouette of a man moving around very strangely. It was like he was doing the waltz, but he was moving towards her, so she was sketched out, crossed the road, and went the other way. After a couple minutes, she turned around to see what he was doing, and he was right across the street from her, now staring up into the sky with a huge grin on his face. Now totally creeped out, she turns around and walks about a half block before checking again, and to her horror, he's now crouched down right behind her. But luckily, he stands up, turns around, and kind of hobbles away, and then she notices something. The man had turned around and was now sprinting directly towards her. She runs to safety and now just hopes she never has to see that smiling man again.
Smiling man? You believe that story,
These are
Seekers?
scary facts about popular childhood movies, part 1. Next up, in the movie The Adventures of Milo and Otis, it's been reported that upwards of 20 cats were killed during the filming of the movie.
What?
There's a lot of speculation behind this, because the film somehow got the approval of the American Humane Society, despite not having their officers present during filming.
Whoa, man. We knew these freaking movies and TV shows had dark history, but I didn't know it was that dark. All those cats, man, just for a movie? You gotta watch what we pay attention to, man. These movies and shows. It's like it's always a dark origins behind them.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. Do you remember the movie A Land Before Time? Well, if you do, of course you remember this loving character, Ducky. Ducky was just adorable, that's literally it. But the backstory of the voice actor that plays Ducky is absolutely terrifying. The voice actor who played Ducky was actually killed by her extremely abusive father. During 9/11, we all know that a lot of emergency workers actually gave their lives trying to save people. But there was also a lot of dogs that did the same thing. So these dogs were going around trying to rescue people, but all they were finding were dead corpses. And this literally made the dogs depressed. So seeing this as a solution, a lot of the police officers and firefighters would bury themselves in rubble just so that the dogs would be able to find them and be able to rescue someone. Rattlesnakes are actually evolving to not have a rattle anymore. If they were to do this, they would become one of the more deadly snakes on Earth because they would lose the one thing that let us know where they are. So if you live in an area where there's a lot of rattlesnakes, I'd be careful because one could be lurking around and you won't even know anymore. But I'm sorry for you to make you think about that, but that's why.
Evolution, man. It's a scary thing.
This is why you should be scared of Ouija boards. A former Reddit user said that he used a Ouija board with results and let something into his home. He said that he has also been physically assaulted by this entity. He said that it started out with a feeling that he was being watched, doors closing and footsteps on the hardwood floor when he was home alone. All of this slowly progressed into being kept awake by something shaking the bed and pulling off the covers. He said that sometimes he even heard whispers of his name. The board would disappear for days on end and then show up in places that he never even put it. He became obsessed with it. Things got even worse though. He said that he began to see a black mass in the corner of the room and the silhouette of a man watching him from the doorway. One night, the paranormal activity escalated into a full-blown attack. He said that he had his hair pulled, fingers pricked, and that he was choked while being held down in bed. During the attack, he claims that this thing whispered into his ear in what could have only been Latin. After this event, he finally decided to have his house blessed. And fortunately, this entity hasn't shown back up. He said that he will never again play with one of those boards.
This is the case of
Not
the
me.
girl that vanished into thin air. Her name is Yuki Onishi.
On April 29th of 2005, 5-year-old Yuki was out celebrating Greenery Day with her mother. It's a national holiday in Japan, and what they do is they go out, they celebrate nature, and they collect bamboo shoots. So Yuki, her mom, and 60 other people were out doing this. Yuki was so excited that she found her first bamboo shoot, she showed her mother, and then she ran off to find more. That's when she disappeared and was never seen from again. When they realized that she was nowhere to be found, they actually brought in search dogs and the police. This is where it gets really strange. The dogs followed her scent to the middle of the forest and then just stopped. The scent stopped in the middle of the forest as if she had just disappeared into thin air from that spot. To this day, she has never been found and no one knows what happened. If you want to hear some theories, come back for part 2.
Do you remember this horror game that no longer exists? Let's talk about a terrifying horror experience that was taken off the web. Hotel 626. More obscure horror games right here. This game is an example of lost media and the images are a little blurry, so bear with me. Hotel 626 is a horror game that was actually made by Doritos for a marketing campaign. You go through a series of disturbing events that take place inside of a hotel while you try to escape. But the name of the game actually means more than you might think. The 626 in the game's title stands for the fact that this game was only playable between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. every day.
Really?
Meaning you had to play this game at night. There was no other choice. Now, I did some research and there really is no way to play this game today. Luckily though, footage does still exist on YouTube, so at least we have that. Hotel 626 actually made enough of an impact that it received a sequel called Asylum 626, but we'll talk about that later.
It's lost medias, man. I wonder why did they take it down, bro? It was made by Doritos. It wasn't even like a regular game company. We're gonna have to go through that rabbit hole, Seekers, man. Figure out why it got taken down. That's eerie. That's an edit.
Interesting people you've never heard of. This man attempted to dribble a soccer ball 10,000 miles from Seattle to Brazil, but unfortunately lost his life after being hit by a pickup truck only 250 miles in. Disney co-founder Roy Disney went to Disneyland every single week with his grandchildren, greeting employees by name and picking up trash to teach them the lesson that nobody is too good to pick up trash. This woman sat at a table in a New York museum for 736 hours over 3 months, allowing anybody to come up and sit across from her and make eye contact with no speaking. This French woman was imprisoned by her family for 25 years in the late 1800s without seeing any sunlight. This man smashed the door of a cupcake store, sat for 15 minutes and thought about what he did, cleaned up his mess in regret, and then stole 6 cupcakes. The store owner saw everything on camera. Instead of pressing charges, he created a signature cupcake after him.
I want to go ahead and I want to discuss this Instagram story and what makes this diabolically creepy. So I'm not going to give the name. I blocked everything out because clearly they want to remain anonymous. Context is that somebody clearly broke into their old school. I don't know if it was their middle school, high school, whatever it was. And they posted this to their story, but pretty soon after, people started commenting about what they see in the background. You zoom in just a little bit, you would see that this person was not alone in that classroom. But before we take a deeper look at that photo, a huge thank you to Spyfly for bringing me this story. If you want to look up something about somebody, you go to Spyfly. How to become this one-stop shop where you can do background reports, you can look at arrest records, you can even do reverse phone lookup. Spyfly.com is going to be the place to do it. You can check the link in my bio for more detail. So back to this photo. I don't know if you can see this, but there is definitely somebody crouching in the background of this classroom. And if you still doubt me, I zoomed in and enhanced the picture for you.
Disturbing facts.
Somebody was definitely there.
This woman passed away in her home while watching TV and was not discovered for 3 years. Girls at a nearby camp danced in the falling white ash of the atomic trinity test when it was happening. 10 out of 12 of the girls that danced in the ash passed away before the age of 40. This man donated $100,000 to UCLA to bypass a queue for a liver transplant. 186 people in the Los Angeles area passed away waiting for this same surgery. This woman survived after her parachute failed to deploy just days after surviving a gas leak at her house. Both events were found to be intentional plots carried out by her husband. Hitler had a romantic obsession with his teenage half-niece. All of the members of your group chat will eventually pass away, leaving the group to just exist forever. We are one convincing deep fake away from a global catastrophe.
You guys believe that last fact? AI's getting advanced, so it's not out of the question.
Wait. You don't remember what she looks like.
September 25th, 1981, something very strange took place up in the Smoky Mountains. This is a picture of Pauline Melton, and it would end up being one of the last known photos of her. Because while Pauline was up there, she was with 2 hiking companions. They described that she, all of a sudden, without explanation, just started to rapidly speed up. They even described that they called out to her. They were asking, Pauline, where are you going? Pauline. She never answered. She never looked back until she crossed over a hill. Since that exact moment, Pauline was never seen again. And to this day, they still have no idea where she went and why she did it.
Terrifying true facts that will keep you up at night, part 2. Most people would consider ducklings to be relatively harmless and innocent creatures, but they can be more sinister than you might realize. When a group of ducklings starts to feel overcrowded, aggravated, or even just bored sometimes, they will often turn to cannibalism to solve their problems for them. This is a characteristic that they share with other animals we tend to regard as being cute, such as chickens and bunny rabbits. And speaking of cute, let's talk about babies. Up until the mid-1980s, doctors would routinely operate on infants without the use of anesthetics. This is because it was thought that babies couldn't experience pain. Also in the 1980s, CNN pre-recorded an ominous video meant to be published in the event of an end-of-the-world scenario. Comment if you think that video will be published during your lifetime and follow for more.
What do you guys think? CNN made a whole freaking doomsday video. It makes you think what other freaking big media company corporations, man, have doomsday videos just ready for us. Hopefully, man, we never see that in our lifetime.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1.
Yeah, why he lurking? No. Yeah, what the hell? Another one. She can see. They know her? They knew. They knew something was up and they left. They felt that energy, Mo. Who was that running to him?
creepiest home camera footage PT.3.
Whoa. It's definitely Crouch, man. Hmm? Shot collar was stolen. Why? Yeah, that's chilling. A man breaks into the house. You don't find no
This
trace of him.
priest tied himself to 1,000 colorful helium balloons and then was found in the ocean months later. On April 20th, 2008, 41-year-old Father Adiller DeCarli wanted to raise money to build a chapel in his hometown, so he chose to tie himself up to 1,000 helium balloons and float over the ocean. He also hoped to break the previous 19-hour record, but unfortunately, things ended tragically. On the morning of April 20th, Father Adiller was fully repaired to take off, and for safety reasons he put on a helmet, waterproof coveralls, and an aluminum thermal flight suit, as well as a GPS tracker and a radio to communicate with people on the ground. Only a few hours after taking off, despite the radio and GPS tracker, Father Adiller disappeared and could not be located. The last thing that he said through the radio was that he was losing height and was going to land in the ocean. Search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched, and after 2 days, they found the colorful balloons in the sea off Brazil's southeast coast, but Father Adiller was not there. Then, a few months later, a body was found in the ocean, which turned out to be him. It was reported that the priest had reached an altitude of 20,000 feet and then was blown off course by the strong winds, causing his tragic death.
So with the amount of people that pass away in hospitals,
insane.
It's no surprise that they're reportedly full of a lot of paranormal activity. Some people even say that when there are many deaths occurring in a certain area, portals are opened up. And as these souls exit this world, other things, entities, creep in. A nurse who wants to remain anonymous said that she used to work in a skilled nursing facility. She was usually assigned the Alzheimer's ward. One night, she was in the linen room stocking her cart, and she heard someone shuffle up behind her. Then, she said she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around, and there was no one else in the room. A female patient started to complain that there was a man coming into her room late at night. Anonymous said that she was in the Alzheimer's ward, so she didn't think much of it. To reassure the patient, she told her that she would come check on her throughout the night. She complained of this man every night for 2 more weeks. The nurse finally asked her to describe him, and the patient said, "He's real handsome, and he wears a black suit. Oh, and he's right behind you now, honey." The nurse said that this freaked her the F out. Of course, there was no one behind her. The patient died the next night in her sleep. So these nurses and doctors really do have a lot of great supernatural stories, and I don't know what to think about that one, because she was, like she said, in an Alzheimer's ward, and Alzheimer's patients can hallucinate. But the nurse did say that when she heard someone shuffle up behind her, she also felt a hand on her shoulder. And I don't know, guys, this story is pretty creepy. The patient described the man as being in all black, yet very handsome. I know that the Grim Reaper is conventionally described as being in like a hooded
cloak. But could this have been the Grim Reaper? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments.
Imagine getting this mad because your bubble tea was made wrong. Police were called to this bubble tea place after this grown man had a meltdown because his bubble tea tasted too bitter. He got so mad that he threatened to throw the drink at the worker and said some very offensive stuff in Korean. Then he tried to force the worker to drink the bubble tea that he just finished putting in his mouth.
You know the reason why I'm here. You know,
I do.
And I explained. It was so bitter to drink. I explained. And could you check this? Could you try this? I told her. But she rejected.
Hey, first off, there's no reason to act like this over a drink. You're a grown man.
This is the worker, and she tried to find a solution by offering to make him a new drink or give him a refund, but this man was so mad. He didn't want any of that. He just wanted to fight. The workers ended up calling the police because this man was getting pretty aggressive, and when the police arrived and heard both stories, they were upset because this man was acting like a baby over a drink. Then this man called his daughter so that she can better explain the situation because there was a language barrier, and you would think that she had more common sense, but it seems that common sense does not run in this family because she was blaming the workers for everything.
There's bigger things in life to worry about than a damn drink that's a bitter.
I know, sir, you're really discounting our shit.
But if then you go to another location, if I go to a restaurant and they offend me, I'm just not going to bring my business
I know,
in.
that's how you handle your problem. And this is
But you can't come in public and then cause a disturbance.
Sir, I understand. I understand what you're saying, and I understand that he was offended. You know, he may seem like really offensive, and you apologize. Okay, but when someone is really worked up, and there's no de-escalation of the problem, because they are not apologizing for the service, then we only get really upset.
Okay, but he's just got to be in charge of his own emotions.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like the drink, then take the refund and don't come back. It's simple. It's so frustrating to see the entitlement and lack of awareness of these people. I felt so bad for this worker. She broke down in tears and apologized to this man so many times, but he wasn't satisfied and just wanted to continue to fight. It's so frustrating to see this, especially because she's working at a bubble tea place. She probably gets paid minimum wage and she has to deal with people like this.
This rocket just proved that space is fake. Left off. Okay, let's go. I pay very close attention from this rocket.
Okay.
Out of the bubble.
It's going.
Here we go. Watch this.
I don't see nothing weird. Yet.
Something really weird.
The trailers leave mind? Is that what he's talking about?
What is that?
Oh, damn, what the? Sonic Boom?
If anyone can explain what this is, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Stay weird.
See if I can help you learn something new today. There's only a 1 hour time difference between a place in Oregon and a place in Florida. As someone who has lived in both of those states, that is shocking because it's supposed to be 3 hours. In Florida, part of the panhandle is in the central time zone, and in Oregon, the very east side of it is in the mountain time zone. There was a woman that was once arrested for sending 159,000 text messages after her first date. She did that apparently in 10 months. In less than a year? Yeah, that's about 500 text messages a day. Are you just like texting one character at that point? Many of the texts were graphic, including some threatening to end the man's life in unspeakable ways. Oh boy. She even broke into his home and was found by the police taking a bath in his house. How did he not block her faster? It took me longer than I'd like to admit to realize that the moon was always facing Earth. I just never knew that for a long time. But if you live in Bora Bora and are watching this, go outside. You see the moon upside down compared to how we see it in North America because of the position of the Earth. Now it'll, you know, so simple. Now you know.
Get out of here! There's a guy outside, look!
He's just standing there, bro. I don't like the vibe he's giving off.
When was the last time you saw Mandy Moore? Why do I ask? Because she was out recently at an event, and she was unrecognizable, leading some fans to question, has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? If you haven't seen the photo, take a look at this. Who is that? That's supposed to be Mandy Moore. That's not the Mandy Moore I remember. This is more like the Mandy Moore we all remember. Here are some images of Mandy Moore throughout the years. But who is this in this photo? Is that Mandy Moore? Don't get me wrong. If that is Mandy Moore, I still believe she looks incredible, but unrecognizable. Here are a couple of Mandy Moore's album covers that you might recall. We all remember this. This photo of Mandy Moore was taken not too long ago. So who is this Mandy Moore right here? The question needs to be asked. Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity?
Another one?
As I always say in all of my videos, people age and people can change.
Yeah.
But what happened with Mandy Moore? Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here's some of the most disturbing things that have been found in fast food. In December of 2010, a Hawaii-based soldier named Clark Bartholomew was eating a triple stacker from Burger King when he bit into a syringe that made his tongue bleed. He was later hospitalized for 6 days after doctors found another needle in his small intestine, and Bartholomew later sued the company. When you think of a Happy Meal from McDonald's, you most likely think of the toys that McDonald's put in their boxes for the kids to play with. But in 2009, a 7-year-old Swiss girl opened her Happy Meal and found a condom in her bag of fries. The mother called the police to report the disturbing find, and what's even stranger is the McDonald's in question in Switzerland has refused to comment on the severe health hazard that had taken place.
Governments around the world are not ready for Gen Z protests. And here's why. This week, there's been even more. In Madagascar, following several days of major nationwide Gen Z protests, the country's president conceded and was forced to dissolve the government. In his address to the country, he added that he now wants to hold talks with young people who are demanding an end to the constant water and power cuts. Happening at the same time in Morocco, protests, largely organized by a group called Gen Z 212, have rocked the country for a 4th consecutive night. The anonymous group have used apps like TikTok, Discord, and Instagram to gather support and are demanding reforms to hospitals and schools which they claim are being neglected by the government, all while billions are flowing into preparing to host the World Cup in 2030. But the protests in Morocco and Madagascar follow the rise of Gen Z protests before them in countries like Nepal, Kenya, Indonesia, the Philippines, and many more. And they all serve as proof that Gen Z are now fully here. A new generation is now actively shaping political and social discourse. But Gen Z have a powerful tool that many generations before them didn't have. Social media. Millions can now organize and rally around a cause faster than we have ever seen before. And not only that, but because of its global reach, these youth-led movements are learning from one another. Many around the world share similarities in strategies like decentralized leadership, the rapid circulation of digital content, and now even the use of shared cultural symbols. The thing is, it's only just begun.
Something is going on with Ice Spice. Y'all, this shit is crazy. I looked at the video, I'm like, what do y'all notice about this picture? In this video, I'm gonna show you, you can see her walk up, and I don't know, y'all, it just looked weird to me. Something looked like it wasn't clicking up top, like she was up out of there for a couple seconds. She was lost in reality. Maybe I'm tripping, but y'all tell me what y'all observed.
Okay.
Did y'all peep the way she walked up? Hold up, you ain't catch it? Watch again. Look at this part. Stop being little, you know.
Yeah, I should just pay attention to the cameras.
Also, another thing. Look at her back, y'all. What the fuck is going on? The video is even crazier. Watch her back. Look at her back, y'all. What's going on, fool? Am I tripping? Am I the only one that noticed this shit? Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.
He did. He was sentenced to 4 years in jail. That's right. Only 4 years for all those witnesses and all the evidence they found. On top of this, since he's been in custody since September of 2024, he's already getting a year off of his sentence for that. They acquitted him of the racketeering and the sex trafficking charges back in July. What they did end up charging him with, though, is the transportation of former girlfriends to engage in. Those are 2 very, very lesser charges compared to the other ones that he was being charged with. After he gets out, he has 5 years of supervised probation. I find this baffling with the baby oil, assaulting multiple women and everything like that. Only 4 years. A lot of people are calling this case unconstitutional, but he really just had a good lawyer at the end of the day. He did all of those crimes, don't get me wrong. It might not say it on paper, but he definitely did all of those crimes. And I also believe that he should be put away for a lot longer than 4 years for all the suffering he's caused to people. But at the end of the day, if you have a good lawyer, you can get away with stuff like this. And this guy has a lot of money, so that's what happened in this case. This is why celebrities usually just get a little slap on the wrist when they do stuff like this. It's horrible. What do you guys think about this?
Which I expected, man. That sentencing, bro. Diddy only got 4 years. I remember all this stuff when all the bombshells dropped. I thought it was like crazy. 4 years, I wasn't expecting that. Now, I know what was going to be the outcome, but I wasn't expecting that. So I don't know how people feel.
So Cool Kicks was selling fake shit? Why am I just finding out that the founder of Cool Kicks got arrested? That they raided their shit and locked him up.
Damn.
But it was only a matter of time. Matter of fact, look at this shit.
Chat? What the fuck was that? What is that?
You selling fake shoes, bro?
Chat? I don't know what the fuck is happening. Did somebody swat us? I'll be back, chat.
You mean to tell me all these years, all these sneakers, all this money, and they've been selling fake shit? If you don't know, the FBI raided Cool Kicks. So they've been rocking all this time, selling all that fake shit. Cool Kicks is the reason that sneakers are the prices that they are right now. They were selling kicks for triple, quadruple the price. These dudes was doubling up and bubbling up. And you mean to tell me that all that shit was fake? Oh yeah, it was about time they got arrested. These dudes probably been buying their sneakers from China and selling them. All fakes, all frauds, all counterfeits. Do you understand that? And selling them for 2 bands, 3 bands. Sneakers that they probably getting for fucking $50. This is crazy, man. I'm out.
Talking about this earthquake that
Can't trust
destroyed all
nobody.
of California. We're calling it the big one. But they're saying the cascading subjection zone, and they said it's about to go off.
Really?
But they're saying that when it goes off, it will be a 9.0 or higher.
Oh my gosh.
It's 4 minutes of continuous shaking.
Dude, that's just destroying a whole city.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. In 1994, the LA earthquake that happened, that was a 6.7 magnitude, but it caused over $50 billion in damage. It destroyed LA.
Dude, a 9.0 that's thousands of deaths.
Animals would be able to pick up on it 90 seconds before it happened.
Cool.
So they're saying all along the west coast, and we're talking about massive tsunamis, because it's in the ocean along the west coast. They would have about 10 to 30 minutes to reach higher elevation before this giant wall of water just came.
That's so terrifying.
So everyone on the west coast,
we're so sorry.
They're saying the one plate, instead of it like getting bound up, it's literally folding over on itself. It'll just be like a big
oh my god.
So it's literally just like building all this tension.
That's called potential energy, and that one moves is kinetic.
To my people who was naturally born with
Beware.
melanin in y'all skin, y'all are going to want to hear this shit. They are now getting melanin injections.
And TikTok this for entertainment purposes only.
We have seen you on there.
I was thinking when you said that, you're looking very pale. This is all well and good. I mean, you have the, as you say, you've got the messy tanning products, and then you try the sunbeds.
Yeah.
And then there's the injections.
Look at her.
So this was your brother, wasn't it?
Yeah, my brother.
So explain how this happened.
He just came in one day and was a completely different colour. Like, what actually happened? It was like, it was 10 injections, and then obviously we went and had to try them.
I don't have that much time on my hands to go outside and enjoy the beautiful weather lately, and I want to be tan by summer, so this is the safest and fastest way to achieve that. So this is my Milano Tan vial. It will come in the mail and it looks like this. It does have to be refrigerated. We also will provide you with alcohol prep swabs and insulin needle. So you'll take the alcohol swab, wipe off the top, just so it's sterile. Untap the top, you have a fine needle.
That's what we're doing, gang. We got melanin injections now. Yeah. Entertaining. Very entertaining. Let me know what y'all think about these melanin injections in the comments. Like or follow for more wisdom. Stay tuned.
You heard the Stussy theory? Stussy theory. No, I never told you this. The old Stussy logo. You know the S that we used to draw as kids? The reason we're so like programmed to write it, we had nobody knows where it came from. First off, the theory was whoever made the simulation, that was their logo to let us know who it was that made it. That's their logo or like their trademark. To the simulation. And what's even weirder, you know how the Stussy has the jester? Yeah, a lot of people that have been on psychedelics and DMT and say they exited the simulation, they all have the same very common occurrence of seeing an entity called the jester. Really? Yeah, one of the most prominent ones is a jester that like greets you. I'm so curious if the person that made the designs for Susie went on like a DMT trip or something, or seen the jester, got the idea for it. Weird shit.
Baby was just born holding his mother's IUD, and they're calling him the chosen one. So this is an IUD, and it's supposed to stop women from having babies, where an IUD has a 99.9% success rate, which means that there is a 0.01% chance that a baby is possible. Based on all the videos that I've seen so far of this baby, he looks like he is already conscious. He's holding this IUD up like it is a trophy, as if not only he knows what it is, that this baby took it out on purpose because he has a more bigger meaning in life, and that this baby is supposed to be here. Because based on every possible medical statistic, this baby was not supposed to be born. However, there was a higher call for this baby, because other than abstinence, IUD is the #1 birth control out there, and every doctor was saying that this IUD was still perfectly intact, and that by some miracle, the baby was born. And now a lot of people are nervous for the mom, thinking that the baby is going to turn on her, and that in a few years when the baby realizes that his mom never wanted him, that the baby will use his powers and turn against his mom, and that the mother needs to watch out. Think that this baby will ever turn on his mother?
There's a battle going on in the heavens, y'all. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Because the Bible told us about this. They told us about times like this, these times where we would be seeing these type of entities coming out of the sky. Now, here's what a lot of you guys may be talking about, right? Project Bluebeam. Now, I feel as if Project Bluebeam solely isn't our government trying to manipulate and lie to us, that what we are seeing could possibly be an illusion. I truly believe that in this new age of AI, there's a lot of people that are creating the opportunity to keep people in fear as well too, by creating content as this, y'all. Tell me why 11,000 people thought that this thing was real. Y'all seen this thing, man? I truly believe that our phones are part of Project Bluebeam, y'all. Think about it. Think about it. Because our phones constantly emit out a blue light. Blue beam, right? And then you have AI and CGI videos flooding our feeds, designed to manipulate and mislead our emotions. It's not about the sky, y'all. The sky is just the bigger picture. You get it? First, they need to trap your perception through these phones, and then the rest is easy. But how many of you guys fell for it? I knew you guys like, oh my God, they're here. The horsemen are here. Let me know that in the comments below, y'all. The shift is here. Y'all see it. Y'all feel it. Let's get it. Peace in.
So with the Project Bluebeam, man, when you was putting together with the phone, it wasn't hitting me until just now. How people can use AI and stuff to kind of throw people off the scent. People just think it's fake, but man, AI is getting more and more realistic, bro. In a couple years, you probably can't even tell the difference. That's what's really scary. You just have videos floating around, you don't know what's real or fake. It confuses the public.
The government is still shut down.
I have a question for you. You think it's okay to work for free? This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. If you don't understand the rules to the Matrix, you will always be asleep. They are trying to tell you something without telling you something. Open this up. Once you understand Marine, Admiralty, Maritime, X, everything will make sense. But remember, the spell is hidden inside of the language. Look at the letters. Marine starts with an M, Admiralty starts with an A, Maritime starts with an A, X starts with an A. When you put those letters together, you get the word mama. The reason why they say we live in a whore of Babylon is because they made Mother Earth. Every time they say the government is going to shut down, it's going to be a war, fear, our energy go right into the sea. Or I should say back into mama's womb. The only portal on this planet is the goddess. The universe made every spirit and every soul goods and services. But when the pirates came, they changed everything. Yes, these life forms are pirates. They are using magic in the water or water magic. I'm going to come back to this. So the real question is, should we work for free? Do we even understand the system? If you ever listen to music, you are listening to music notes. If you want to write something down, you write it on a note. That's why they call money promissory notes. These notes is really our frequency. They are making us move left, right, up and down. They are controlling our vibration. But if you look at the word promissory, you will see promise sorry. Pay attention to the language. These people will give you all kind of promises and they will break your heart. Then they will say sorry because it's just a promise sorry note. The note is your frequency. You know how when people go to church, they got to pay their tips? Well, it's not really tips. It's the tithes of the seed. And the reason why they have to pay 10% is because 1 and 0 is the matrix code. 10%, 1, 0, the percentage, another 1 and 0, 1 and 0, life, death, man, woman. They turned their goddess into the whore of Babylon. Everything is about good prices and deals. Once you understand what a merchant is, everything will make sense. When you look at the word merchant, you have to understand that mer means sea in French, and chant means magic spells. So these people are putting rituals inside of the water. And since we are 85% of water, they are putting spells on us. This is a tinder, and this is another tinder. You can always check out.
The man behind me built a homemade cage for his head to stop smoking. He then gave his wife the keys and only she could open it during meals. The man's name is Ibrahim Yücel. He is a Turkish man. He was smoking 2 packs daily for 26 years and decided he wanted to stop one day. So he built a homemade cage out of copper. In my opinion, this thing looks like a torture device. And he didn't just wear this at home. He wore this outside, going to work, running his errands. He was dedicated to stop smoking. He started doing this in 2013, and I believe he is still doing this to this day. The only thing he could get through the cage was a straw from a bottle of water and maybe some crackers. He designed it in a way that you couldn't even sneak a cigarette inside there. He definitely knew he would be having withdrawals and planned this accordingly. Down here is a picture of his wife unlocking the cage for him, and over here is more of a close-up photo of the cage. And then here's a picture of him with the cage off right here. He's talking on the phone. I'm assuming he's having a meal and he's just chatting away. But honestly, props to him. If it works, it works. I'm not sure if I have any followers from Turkey, but if I do, let me know if you've seen this guy around. And let me know what you think about this story.
Weird facts.
Have you seen that before?
If you're coughing uncontrollably, just raise your hands above your shoulder and it will stop. Did you know that TikTok doesn't let you type Area 51? When crossing the street at night, turn on your phone's flashlight and point it toward oncoming traffic. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times, since you'll get to the same place they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Don't walk down the stairs with hands in your pockets. If you type your big forehead, you get a warning. Blue color attracts mosquitoes and 2 times more than any other. Strawberries can also be white and yellow. Some even can taste like pineapples. You can't unalive yourself by holding your breath. If you search these coordinates on Google Maps, you will find a man dragging a body. Follow for more.
Really?
Nobody in the entire world can visit this island. Okay,
Okay, so majority of Americans don't know about the Forbidden Island in Hawaii that is owned by one single family and nobody could visit. The island is called Niihau, and it's extremely different from anything else in the United States. There is only a population of 70 people, and they have no access to paved roads, telephone service, no running water, and the majority of the island lives off welfare checks from the US government. And with such harsh living conditions, it makes you wonder why anybody would even live on this island. And the real question is, if there's nothing to hide here, why can't anybody visit? Well, this rule that doesn't allow any outsiders onto the island was actually written into the agreement by the natives when they sold it to the Robinson family, all the way back in 1864.
Way back.
The Robinson family bought the island for $10,000 in gold, which is $325,000 today. And the crazy thing is that this family still owns the island. The Robinsons are also very focused on preserving the Hawaiian culture on this island that the natives did, so they go to church every Sunday, banned long hair for men, and kept the official Hawaiian language. But my whole opinion on this island is that if nobody can visit there and there's only 70 people on it, there's gotta be some crazy stuff going on there, right? There's just no way these 70 people are just completely normal living on this isolated island that nobody could visit. Let me know your thoughts on this, and also let me know if you've ever heard of this.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you were murdered in the United States. If the sun exploded now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices. There are 40 supervolcanoes around the world capable of claiming 1 billion lives. And we are about 24,000 years overdue for an eruption. The air you breathe in train stations is 15% human skin. There are over 200 dead bodies on top of Mount Everest, because retrieving them is such a risk. They serve as markers for other hikers. When you die, your house cat is going to want to eat you. Speaking of pets, dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the screams of their prey. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 2.
I know why my dog loves the squeaky toy so much. I never knew that. Be careful when you buy your squeaky toys for your dogs now.
Insane true stories of now.
Morbid facts about Mike Tyson, Part 2. While visiting a zoo in the late 1980s, Tyson noticed an alpha silverback gorilla bullying all the others. He offered the zookeeper 10 grand to open the gorilla cage so that he could go in there and smash that silverback's snot box. Luckily for the gorilla, the worker declined the offer. Here's a 1997 photo of Las Vegas police facing Mike Tyson after he'd just bitten off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Tyson claimed he was in a primal blacked out state and literally wanted to kill his opponent. Mike had 6 biological children, but his little girl Exodus tragically died when she was only 4 years old. In 2009, Exodus was playing on a treadmill when she accidentally died from strangulation after falling and catching her neck on a power cord. 3 years after signing with Don King, Tyson didn't even know that he had a fan club. When he finally went there, he found a letter from a woman asking if Tyson could call her dying little boy. Tyson immediately called, hung up, cursed out Don King, then started to cry. He said that the call was 1 year too late.
If you were someone that...
Man, those freaking facts about Mike Tyson. He went through a lot in his life, man. Because you guys know what happened between that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. How some people said they kind of didn't live up to the hype, but I guess he did what he needed to do, man. I guess to get that money.
You know, has small children, please watch this video until the end because it could save their life. Basically, Bobby baby pillows are being recalled after suffocating 8 children to their end. What happened was that these 8 children were laid down to sleep on these pillows and woke up lifeless. The recall includes the original, preferred, and Pottery Barn Kids Bobby baby pillows, and if you own any of these, you can take them to a local store for a refund. These are being recalled all the way back from 2004 to September of this year, so if you own any of these from any of those years, you might be at risk. So please, never put any babies or young children to sleep in any of these, and if you know anyone with young children, please send them this video so they don't miss this life-saving information.
That's insane.
Give you hope.
This woman swept out to sea while at the beach was rescued after 37 hours of drifting over 50 miles in an inflatable swim ring. Overdoses have decreased for the first time in over 5 years. This stranger saved a 4-year-old from a flying puck at a hockey game. Every country has now banned the use of leaded gasoline in cars, with Algeria being the last one a couple years ago. Bruno was able to get a fresh start and a new life after 473 days in a shelter. A study of over 2 million people found that eating cheese is healthy for aging because of the lower stress that you experience in life. The amount of sugar consumed by kids in the United Kingdom halved in 1 year after a sugar tax was introduced. Scientists have developed a glowing dye that sticks to cancer cells, which helps scientists prevent cancer from coming back. This nearly extinct pupfish has hit a 25-year high with their population. There are less than 200 of them in one single cave in the Mojave Desert of Nevada.
Here are 3 real ways to survive Ohio. The land of Ohio is a mysterious pocket dimension located within the continental United States that is widely regarded as being one of the most dangerous places known to man. With that being said, the easiest way to guarantee your survival of this state is to simply avoid visiting it altogether. This should be a relatively easy task since no one actually lives in Ohio. Remember, if you think you have family or friends to visit there, that's just the demons whispering in your ear, and those thoughts should be ignored entirely. Secondly, if you do somehow wind up in this desolate place, remember to ignore the locals at all costs. Their lonely state might inspire you to take pity on them and engage them in conversation, but be warned, if you speak to them, you will become as they are. Finally, above all else, you'll need to try and keep moving at all times in one direction. Time and space work differently in the state of Ohio, and it may feel like you've been walking in circles for hours or even days. But remember, every step that you take is a step closer to freedom. Leave a comment if you're enjoying this series, and if you know anyone from Ohio, tag them. It might help them escape.
Any of you guys know anybody from Ohio? I don't know. LeBron James, man. That's I know it comes from Ohio, but I guess this TikTok, bro, wants us to avoid it, man. And because they be Ohio, Skippity, Riz, Gyat, whatever, man. I think it originated there, bro. Oh, man, those TikToks, bro. Probably crazy, man, in Ohio, bro. Imagine walking down and see somebody yelling, "Gyat Skibbity," bro. Oh, man. Interesting. Where's it at? They brought like a whole setup.
Did you know that Art the Clown played the Grinch in a horror movie? Yes, there is a horror slasher version of the Grinch, and it's called The Mean One. The story follows Cindy Lou Who after the Grinch kills her parents, and she grows up and she decides that she's going to make it her life's mission to kidnap the Grinch and to kill him for what he did to her. And Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton, plays the horror version of the Grinch, the Mean One, and he brings so much personality to the character even through all of the paint and prosthetics. Like, look at these cool shot comparisons. This is the original Grinch, and here we have the horror version of the Grinch. The Mean One is definitely considered a horror comedy, so keep that in mind if you choose to watch it. It's also extremely bloody and extremely silly, which I feel like you would expect. My favorite part of the movie is when Cindy Lou Who, as a child, is being interviewed by cops to try to get an idea of what this guy looks like. The sketch artist draws the little girl's description and then in all seriousness is like, "Sweetie, is this what he looks like?" It's really funny that David Howard Thornton has gotten to play a horror version of Santa as Art the Clown, and he's also gotten to be a horror version of the Grinch. Pretty cool.
Why you should always respect Mother Nature.
You should, of course, never do what this guy did in that video, and viewer discretion advised for this one because there's no happy ending here. The man in the video that I showed you is 28-year-old Jacob Cockle. Jacob's passion was surfing and pretty much anything ocean-related, so he felt like the water was his element. This is likely why Jacob thought he would be able to best a whirlpool when it came to swimming by it. Initially, when Jacob jumped into the whirlpool, nothing went wrong. There were about 28 minutes of footage of him floating around on top, and this is because he had the safety of a wetsuit. Wetsuits trap a lot of air, they're very buoyant, and they're made out of neoprene. This particular whirlpool was not strong enough to take Jacob down when he's floating on the surface. However, Jacob made a grave mistake. At one point or another, Jacob decided that it would be a good idea to dive underwater to get more footage. This caused the buoyancy of his suit to drop, and the whirlpool became strong enough and sucked him down. Jacob was unfortunately not able to escape from the whirlpool's grasp.
Photos with disturbing backstories.
Stay out the water, man. Photos tell a story every single time, man. That's why I always pay attention to them, bro. That's the edit. She do that. We expert level now, bro.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark. A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 8.
Cover your camera on your phone, bro. You go to sleep.
Myths you still believe about Canada. Canadians see snow year-round. Well, the truth is that though the winters can be harsh, most of the country's population experiences summers that can make a Californian sweat. Most Canadians live near the Canada-US border and thus experience similar weather to what you'd expect in places like Boston or New York. Toronto is the capital of Canada. Well, Toronto does have the largest population and is probably the most famous Canadian city, but it's actually Ottawa, another Ontario city that's the capital. As the center of political power, Queen Victoria chose Ottawa to be Canada's capital on December 31st, 1857. It was determined that with its location being on the border between Canada East and Canada West, its excellent defensive position and its access to 2 different rivers to cross the country in either direction, Ottawa was the perfect city for the title.
Skinwalker
okay.
On camera.
The hell is that?
Please pardon the interruption. At this time, we are going to ask that students and staff proceed to conduct an internal lockdown. I repeat, this is not a drill. Please proceed to internal lockdown. 911 has been called. Remain in internal lockdown until instructed otherwise by a uniformed officer.
Okay, guys, I need everybody right away. Back corner and down. Please.
In Ohio too, what the hell?
No cell phones?
Get as close to the wall as you can, crowd it together. Marcus, get this way. Get this way. Get away from the window. Davis, hurry up. Get away from the window. Press up to these desks. Hurry up. Guys, grab these desks.
Skinwalker at?
Feminine things that were originally made for men. In Persia, men wore high heels to protect their feet. Then the Europeans looked and said, let's use them too, but they did it to show that they were rich, powerful, and masculine. In their culture, the higher the heel, the more masculine you were. Bags were also made exclusively for men. This is the oldest bag ever found made for men. It is entirely decorated with dog teeth because that was the fashion of the time. A system very similar to the disposable pads we have today was originally used in World War I to stop soldiers from bleeding. That's when a nurse noticed and thought, we can put this in our underwear and we no longer need to use rags as pads. Skirts were originally worn by men throughout the history of the world.
A killer clown.
I never knew that. Our reality's blown wide open. If you would have said high heels were made for men first, I wouldn't have believed you. We learning today.
Clown was just released from prison in Florida. This case dates back to May 26, 1990, when 40-year-old Marlene Warren opened her front door. In front of her was a clown holding balloons and a basket of flowers. Marlene stated, "How nice," before the clown fatally shot her in the mouth, then calmly walked away. Authorities suspected 26-year-old Sheila Keene for years, who was having an affair with the victim's husband, Michael. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough evidence to convict her. 12 years later, Michael and Sheila wed in Las Vegas, moved to Tennessee, and started running this burger joint called the Purple Cow. They lived happily as if nothing happened, and Sheila even had the audacity to dress up as a clown one year. But in 2014, Florida authorities received a grant that allowed them to reopen the case. Advances in DNA technology allowed them to test a brown hair at the crime scene. It belonged to Sheila Keene, who was finally arrested in 2017 and pleaded not guilty. But after 7 years in jail, prosecutors gave her a deal in April of 2023. In exchange for pleading guilty to second-degree murder, she received a 12-year sentence. A Florida law allowed credit for good behavior, and that is why she was released on November 2nd of this year.
Here's a test to see if you or someone you know has thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the fear of deep or open water. Starting off at level 1, we have this image, and if you look at the baby's feet, you can see there's nothing. And that's what freaks people out, the fact that you can't see anything but feel like there's something watching you from below. If this freaked you out, don't watch the rest, because level 2 is even worse. Level 2, we have a person falling into a huge open body of water. And to make it worse, there's some sort of squid-like creature right in the corner. At level 3, we have the worst one yet. A person floating above a huge snake-like creature that we have no idea how big it is. And if you made it this far, congrats. Make sure you send this to a friend to see if they can pass the test and hit the follow button for more.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows if your county has a McDonald's or not. If you're in a red county on this map, then you do not have a McDonald's, and there are 793 counties without them. This map shows the average weekly grocery bill across each state in the United States. Wisconsin has the lowest because Midwest states have the most farming around them. Hawaii and Alaska are the highest because of their isolation from the mainland food production. This map shows how fertility rates have decreased across the entire United States over the last 20 years. Louisiana had a tiny 0.3% decrease, while Utah had an over 30% decrease in fertility. This map shows the most common transportation methods in the United States to get to work. Most people in the United States are in a green county where it is driving alone. Orange counties are where people walk the most, yellow counties are where people take taxis or motorcycles more, and the red counties are public transportation counties, which is just San Francisco and New York City.
How y'all get to work, bro? Walk, driving, public transportation. I walk, bro. I'm a walker.
Everybody's talking about this new horror movie. It's awesome. Let's watch. I haven't watched it tonight. This movie is so scary. I promise.
This is a serial killer you haven't heard of and has more victims than Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer combined. The Sunday morning slasher. Carl Eugene Watts targeted mostly young, attractive women walking alone in the dark. He would stab, slash, strangle, and drown them. Watts told a psychiatrist that they had evil eyes. And it wasn't enough to murder these women, he had to kill their spirits too, by burning personal items or tossing them in a sewer. His first victim was 19-year-old Gloria Steele, a mother and college student who was stabbed 33 times in her apartment. Michigan authorities knew he was responsible for dozens of murders, but they never had enough evidence to convict him. In 1982, Watts fled to Texas and resumed his murders, killing at least 12 more, including the youngest victim, 14-year-old Emily Lacroix. Now let's get to the moment he was finally caught. On May 23, 1982, Carl Watts choked Lori Lister until she was unconscious and dragged her up the apartment steps. He used her keys to open the door and came face to face with Lori's roommate, Melinda Aguilar. Melinda was choked by Carl Watts as well, but this time she pretended to black out. He bound her hands behind her back and put her in a separate bedroom, while he filled up a bathtub where he planned to drown Lori Lister. With her hands still bound behind her back, Melinda quietly locked the bedroom door and proceeded to jump off a second-story balcony, where she yelled at a woman who was drinking coffee outside to call police. Unfortunately, Texas prosecutors offered immunity to Watts for the 13 murders he confessed to, in exchange for a 60-year sentence. Oddly enough, he was almost released from prison in 2006, but Michigan authorities were able to convict him of 2 murders before that could happen, and he died in prison in 2007 from prostate cancer.
Creepy facts that'll give you nightmares. When
justice.
anglerfish mate, the male literally fuses itself into the female and the two live together as one fish for the rest of their lives. I'm kinda concerned as to how we know this, but if you feed a human body to pigs, they eat every last bit of it. There's a place near Mexico City called the Island of the Dolls. This place is home to thousands of dolls that are there to honor a girl who drowned in the 1950s. Many people say that this place is one of the most haunted places on Earth. And finally, this is Mike the Chicken. After Mike's head got chopped off, he somehow managed to live a full 1.5 years headless.
In the mystical lands of ancient India, not all demons were born evil. The Brahmins, the highest of castes, held immense knowledge and power. But what happens when one falls from grace, committing unspeakable sins? They become the Brahma Rakshasa, a dreaded demon with a Brahman's knowledge, adorned with skulls, feasting on flesh, wielding both Vedic and demonic powers. Feared by many, yet deep within some seek redemption to escape their accursed existence. Today, these mythical beings continue to captivate, reminding us of the duality of knowledge and ethics.
So they're basically saying that I guess the knowledge it corrupted them, because like they said, a couple of them fell. Just by the way they look, I was like, man, they definitely on some demon timing right there, bro. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Does all knowledge corrupt?
Another scary story, and this one comes from India. So the day we got to India, my parents needed to go to the bank. The banks were open till late. It was already about 9 p.m. So they decided to leave us with the neighbors to babysit us. So after my parents had gone, the babysitter decided to sneak us out to go watch a movie at the theaters. The movie's name was Ganjana. It was a horror movie. Now after watching that movie, it was already about 12 a.m. midnight. And we were really tired, so we decided to just go straight home. Usually we take the main road home, but there were too many people that could recognize us, so we decided to take the long route, and that would go through a Muslim cemetery. Back then I wasn't really scared of jinns or ghosts and spirits because I thought, what could really go wrong? The second me and my neighbors stepped into the cemetery, I felt a presence, and it felt like it was touching me. And the jinn would not let us look behind. We could only control our legs. It felt like hours when we tried to pass through cemetery, but some way or another we got through it. The next day, me and my neighbor got really ill. Till now, I'm still scared of going through the cemetery. So they do say that if you see a dark spirit, any kind of spirit, you get ill or sick. It could last for like a week or 2 weeks, but yeah, that does happen. But you could have also been really scared of the scary movie you just watched, and then you're walking through a cemetery, so you're like psyching your brain out to think that way too. I don't know, but either way, we believe you. Send me more, guys. These are so good.
I just took those good kids to see that scary movie. That's a damn
Dayan
shame.
witches. Dayan is a witch in Indian folklore. The primary source of their power is her long plaited hair that is used as an additional loop. They also have monstrous black nails and feet that face back.
Hey, we learning out here.
Have you ever heard of the Indian urban legend of Bullet Baba? The legend revolves around a motorcycle that is believed to have supernatural powers and provides protection to travelers. The story goes that in 1988, Ambana, whose real name was Om Singh Rathore, was riding his Royal Enfield motorcycle late at night when he lost control and crashed into a tree. He tragically lost his life in the accident. The police impounded the motorcycle and took it to the police station as part of their routine procedure. However, the motorcycle mysteriously reappeared at the accident site the following day. The police, perplexed by this unusual occurrence, seized the motorcycle once again and emptied its fuel tank. They even chained it to prevent it from being moved. Despite their efforts, the motorcycle miraculously returned to the crash site once more.
No.
The locals perceived this as a sign and began worshipping the motorcycle as a guardian deity. They constructed a shrine around it, where the Bullet Baba's motorcycle stands to this day. Devotees offer prayers, flowers, and incense at the shrine seeking protection for their journeys. According to the legend, it is believed that Ombana's spirit resides in the motorcycle, and he continues to protect travelers from accidents and mishaps on the road. It is said that those who pass by the shrine offer their respects to Bullet Baba by lighting incense and pouring water over the motorcycle. Furthermore, there is a belief that if anyone steals or disrespects the motorcycle, they will face misfortune or be involved in a serious accident. Several anecdotes and stories circulate about individuals who ignored the sanctity of the shrine and suffered unfortunate consequences soon after.
This is why you have to...
Man, what the hell? It's one of the most bizarre stories you come across. Of these clips we seen Seekers, like the freaking motorcycle bike kept returning to the place where the incident happened at, man. They even chained it up and took out the gas and it still ended up there. You guys want to deep dive into that one? Because that one was bizarre, man. Blowing my mind.
Always be careful about what comes out of your mouth. I was gone to Jammu, India, and I went to go visit Vaishno Devi Temple. It's a Hindu temple. It's about 5,200 feet above sea level, and it's about 12 to 13 kilometers from the base of the starting of the temple, and you have to go up this mountain. It usually takes about 6 to 8 hours depending on how fast you walk.
Damn.
So nowadays you can take a helicopter up, especially because there's old people, little kids that are all doing this with their families. Or you, back in the day when I went, which was 15 years ago, you could take a donkey. You could go on top of a donkey and go up. This is the base of the temple, and every day they get about 30,000 to about 35,000 people that go and pay their respects at this temple. As you can see, there's a windy road, and this goes all the way up, which takes about 6 to 8 hours.
It's like a snake.
My friend thought, okay, she's not going to be able to do the 6 to 7 hour, 8 hour hike. So then they ended up giving me this donkey right here, this guy up here. And me and my friend would just trade off, for halfway she'd go on it, and halfway I'd go on it. So the reason people go to this temple is if you are, say, childless and you want a child, to wish that. So basically your wishes come true. If you're poor, to give you wealth. If you have no sight, to give you eyesight, and so forth. So as you get closer to the entrance, it's just jam-packed with people, literally butt to butt. Everyone is so close. This is the entrance to the cave. When I went, this is what it looked like, and there was everyone lined up, back to each other, and everyone was in good spirits, super high energy. Everyone's Sare bolo, Jai Mata Di, Jor se bolo, Jai Mata Di, and that's what they were doing. And I was so into it. I was getting into it, singing with them. What the entrance looks like now. Those of you who've been to India, you guys all know that there's no such thing as structure and lineups. People usually push in the lineups. So that's literally what was happening here. Everyone was just pushing to get to where they go do Jai and Matha Teka and stuff, where they go bow towards the shrine. It's literally like a holy cave amidst the folds of the Trikuta mountain. So as we're chanting, I didn't realize it, but I completely almost missed the shrine because it was so small. It took forever to get there, and then when we got there, the actual shrine was so tiny. So as you can see, it's right there and way up there, that red thing. This is what it looks close up. Those little round things on the bottom are called pindis. They're rock formations, and in this temple there's no idols, no statues, nothing else besides this. As soon as we came out of the
just rocks.
As soon as we came out of the temple, I jumped on the donkey, and I turned to my friend who's walking beside the donkey as we were walking down this 5,200 feet mountainous area. I go to her, oh, we just came here with a negative attitude. I said this. I was like, oh, we just came here to see 3 rocks. Like, what the hell? I can't believe people put their children and old people through this just to see 3 rocks. As soon as those words came out of my mouth, I kid you not, the donkey slipped over the side. It was a wide area, but I don't know why I went on that side. It slipped off the side of the hill, and it literally slipped like this, and I was holding on to it for dear life. And right below us was literally 1,500 freaking feet, but there's a little edge, like not even a foot long edge that like his foot landed on. So he was like kind of stable, because it wasn't super far down where he landed, but it was like this much off, falling off the cliff. And everyone got around. There was like a guy who like handled the donkey. He was like pulling it up. My friends were pulling it up, grabbed me off of it, and I got off of it. And I was like, holy shit. I was so scared. I didn't go on the donkey again. I walked all the way down. But I was so scared, because just as I uttered those words out of my mouth, that happened to me. It was like someone was listening to me and was like, better fucking get your ass in check. Don't say that shit about a place where people actually have so much good energy and they're just there for wishes. I don't know what it was, but that was actually so scary. It was like such a near-death experience.
Like we said earlier in the videos, man, there's power in words, man. I guess she said something negative about that sacred space, man, and the universe, whatever, the energy, whatever, it came just right back at her. We didn't even have to wait like a minute, a second. Like she said, legit happened as soon as she said those words uttered out of her mouth, man. These powers are not word seekers, man. That's how I always try to preach positivity, man, in the world as much as I can. Ooh. That sounds scary. Pointing at. They just living with it? That spirit or entity? Couldn't be me. The hell? It's definitely looking for something. You can tell by the way they're creeping around the house. The hell with that chair?
It was this guy from India, right? Basically, up till he was like 20-something years old, his life was normal as then randomly, bro, in his mid-20s, he started to complain to his family that he was having like abdominal pain like crazy. He was like, yeah, like I don't know, like my stomach and like just all right here has been like hurting and shit recently. But his parents are like, bruh, you know, maybe you're just having like a stomach ache or some shit, bruh. Just see what's good for a couple days and then let us know. It kind of like technically goes away, but it doesn't. Like he's like, alright, it doesn't feel as bad, I'm just gonna leave it alone. He leaves it alone, bro, up until, cause like I think at the time it was probably like 1970s when, you know, he was like in his 20s. Up until 1999, he ends up going to the hospital because he literally could not breathe because this thing was like blocking his airway. Like, and he goes to the doctor. They're like, okay, cool, we're gonna see what's good with you. They start to cut this dude open, bro. Mike, when they cut this guy open, bro, you're not gonna believe what's inside this guy's stomach. Oh, baby, Mike.
What the hell? He had a whole baby inside of him, man? That sounds something like out of science fiction. Like you said, there was abdominal pain or something, and you went with it, lived for that pain for how many years? And it was a baby? We're gonna have to check up on that, Seekers, man. Or if you guys want to check up, tell me down below, but I'm definitely gonna have to check up on that one. Gonna have to try to confirm that.
Creepy urban legends you didn't know about India. The Indian village of Kuldhara was seemingly abandoned overnight, and no one knows why, though there are a few eerie theories. There are structures in the town of Kuldhara that date back to the 13th century, but no one has lived there since 1825, when all its residents seemingly vanished into thin air.
Ooh.
According to local lore, 1,000 villagers completely abandoned their home overnight, without a trace. No one knows why they left, where they went, or even saw them leave. Theories as to why they left range from poisoned wells to a greedy ruler levying high taxes to a dwindling water supply, though none of those explain why the inhabitants left so suddenly. You might be wondering why no one has tried to resettle the town. That's where the legend comes in. It's said that the village chief cursed the land, apparently. Anyone who tries to live there will die. The Indian Paranormal Society spent a night there and reported disembodied whispers. Screams, noises are common at dark hours. Many of our members have witnessed apparitions, heard footsteps, experienced unusual touch, and so on.
They spent the whole night there? Man, like I said, I always gotta give it up to the people, man, who try to explore the paranormal, man, because, like, you have to have a different type of bravery, man, to go into that type of situation. All that dark energy and stuff, I can't be around that. Freaking story behind that, man. It's haunting, though. You guys have any theories on that?
What you're about to witness was recorded by soldiers in India when the villagers complained of strange noises coming out of a cave. The soldiers went to investigate, and this is what they encountered.
You saw that, man? Was that an edit or was that legit? That one was kind of iffy, but you saw something peek out, and then went back in, like, in, out, in, out. Right there, and then it was gone. These clips, man.
Let's talk about India's youngest and most infamous serial killer, Amarjit Saddam. He was only 8 years old when he struck. He preyed on children, and his first victim was his sister, who was only 8 months old. Shortly after murdering her, Amarjit struck again, murdering his 6-month-old cousin. Even more chilling is that the family and villagers knew about these murders but chose to stay silent. They deemed the killings as internal family issues, not realizing that Amarjit would soon strike and murder someone outside of his family. In 2007, Junjun Devi, the mother of a 6-month-old baby girl, left her daughter at the school daycare to do her chores. When she returned, she found her child was missing. When the news spread, people feared the worst, and since they knew about Amarjit's past, they confronted him. After being questioned, Amarjit showed no remorse. He gleefully told the villagers about how he strangled the child to death and then led them to a shallow grave where she was buried. He told them he killed her by beating her with a brick. He then buried her with debris and grass that was around the area and went back home after she was dead. He was arrested for the murder of Khushbu Devi after his confession. Unfortunately, since the family covered up the first 2 murders, Amarjit wasn't found guilty of them. Despite this, he was questioned about how he attacked his victims and why. Instead of providing these details, he looked at the police, smiled, and asked if they could give him some more biscuits. He showed no remorse, and whenever the police tried to ask him about the crimes, he would stop talking and smile. Superintendent Amit Lodha ordered that the case be looked at from a psychological perspective. Patna-based psychoanalyst Shamshad Hussain looked into the case and found that the child lacked remorse and enjoyed inflicting pain on others, making him a true psychopath. It also seemed seemed that he had a brain issue which led to a chemical imbalance. This in turn led to increased gratification from inflicting pain on others. He was diagnosed with a conduct disorder that was claimed to be hereditary. This led him to commit acts of violence because he had no sense of right or wrong. Amarjeet was tried, and according to India's laws, it's speculated that he was sentenced to serve 3 years in juvenile prison since children can't serve more. It's also speculated that due to his mental state and the extreme threat he posed to society, that he was placed in a mental institution after he served his time. Amarjeet's whereabouts are currently unknown. However, in 2015, he contacted the Postmortem Post. He claimed he was in a children's facility where he would be till he turned 18. Since he would be over 20 now, if his claim is valid, he'd be allowed to leave the facility. It's unclear whether he'll go on to commit more crimes or if he was successfully treated. Some people speculate that Amarjeet wasn't the original culprit and that he was framed for the murders. The nature of the crimes and the elaborate hiding spots were too much to have been committed by an 8-year-old child. Despite this theory, the fact that he was excited to reveal what he did and his reaction when he was questioned, it seems that Amarjeet Sudha was in fact India's youngest serial killer.
That's an insane story, man, with twists and turns, especially at the end. I didn't think people would even say that it's too elaborate for, I guess, like an 8-year to do that, man. So there's more thoughts and theories about what really happened. This world, man. When we read these clips together, Seekers, it always freaking expand my minds, man. Learning new things every single day, bro. Man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload a video. Follow me on my social medias down below. Hit that post notification bell, man. Comment down below, even if it's just to say hi, guys, man. It just helps in the algorithm. So really appreciate the support, man. As you guys can see, I switched up my uploading schedule this month, man. I just want to try it out. Just trying out some new things for the channel. Gonna continue to keep growing with each and every single video. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.